Welcome everyone back to deeZ Tarot. Thank you all for staying tuned. I also want to give a warm welcome to those that are new to my page. I'm so grateful to be here and sharing this message with you, and I really hope that you subscribe, and if you like this message, make sure you hit the thumbs up button and the notification bell so you never miss one of my future videos. I am interested in doing something different today in this video, and I'd love to possibly just teach you guys how to read tarot yourself. I also want to share a little background about my own story with tarot. So, firstly, tarot can be pronounced two different ways. It can be pronounced tarot or tarot. I choose to say tarot. I don't know, it just works with me. And I started doing tarot about a year ago, and I always just had questions that I wanted to figure out. And when I came across tarot, I really started watching YouTube videos, and once I realized that I could start to teach myself this, I picked up my own deck of cards and I just started learning. It wasn't until a few months ago that I decided that I felt ready to share messages with the public and with friends. I just knew that this hobby of mine has become just part of my everyday, and I really enjoy putting out these YouTube videos, and I really hope that you guys stick around because I have a lot of fun new ideas for the future. So that's kind of the background on how I kind of got my hands around tarot. I'm still learning, but I do know that it's something very simple that can be taught to others, possibly even taught so y'all can follow along with my videos better, for maybe those that aren't familiar with tarot or would just like a little bit more information on how to understand it. Obviously in this journey of mine, I get a lot of, or more recently, people kind of afraid of the topic of tarot. So I invite you all to do your own research and decide if this is something you want to continue watching. But rest assured, the messages I share are things that I feel compelled to share and are from my heart. So I will usually post, what I feel should be shared that day, and sometimes I try to do it daily, but it's just whenever it comes to me, I'm like, okay, let's get this out. And I'm so happy that you're here to share this journey with me. This is still the very new early stages, but I think that everybody is evolving every day, finding what we enjoy, and this is something I enjoy, and I want to share that enjoyment with you. So in this video, I want to kind of teach you the basics of tarot. I think more so just understanding what are the cards. I think that's a good first step, and we can start there. So I'm going to be writing along with you. I have my own little tarot journal. Honestly, I just got this at a bookstore, and I recommend you can use a notebook or anything that makes you feel comfortable. So I think what we should start with is writing down the numbers of the cards. So there are the card numbers Ace, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And each of those numbers represents a path through one's journey in life. Kind of like you're just walking forward, just every step that you're taking, you're closer to something else than you were before. Obviously, I don't know what that's called, rule of physics. I'm not scientifical at all. This is literally all coming from the heart and my brain. So please take what resonates with you. And I also don't try to sugarcoat anything, I'm saying it like it is. So Ace card means individuality, beginnings, potential, momentum, and inspiration. And then card number 2 means duality, choices, balance, and cooperation. So from going from ace to 2, we go from beginning to making choices, finding a balance. And then card number 3 is groups, raw energy, development, expression, and creativity. And then card number 4 is structure, manifestation, foundations, stability, and endurance. So from going from card 2 to 3, we've just went from beginnings to new choices, finding balance. And then card number 3 is raw energy, development, expression. So we've kind of worked with what we had in card number 2, which is making good choices, finding a good balance. And then here we are in card 3, we're developing and we're expressing our creativity. We're working with different groups of people. We're basically uplifting ourselves from this second level. And then here we are at card number 4, which means structure, manifestation, foundation, stability, and endurance. So with card number 4, we have just recently completed a development of raw energy, expression, creativity. So things are kind of brewing. Card number 4, structure, build the structure, make a foundation, be stable, and have that endurance to keep moving forward with what you've gained so far from the raw energy and the choices that you have made to build that energy. Card number 5 is conflict, fluctuation, change, and challenges. And card number 6 is harmony, adjustment, alignment, commitment, and pleasure. So from going from card 4 to 5, we have just kind of established a structure or a foundation. But then here we are at card number 5, and we're stuck with conflict. There's change, there's challenges. We're halfway through 10, but here we are, we're on the floor, we're crying. That's the image of the card, but take what resonates with you. But sometimes challenge can be really hard. You know, sometimes I feel like we have to walk through fire to change. We have to have things change, which could be abrupt. And once you get through that, you're going to find harmony, because card number 6 is harmony, adjustment, alignment, commitment, and pleasure. Card number 6 can be interpreted in different ways. I think that once you get past change, you will find harmony. You know, there's light at the end of the tunnel, if you've ever heard that terminology. And then you're also aligning with a commitment to something that you want to keep doing. We've built that endurance from card number 4. We're here at card number 6. We're going to find pleasure in committing to that alignment. There's going to be harmony. And so let's take that on to card number 7. So card number 7 is introspection, investigation, reflection, and spirituality. Card number 7 is an important card as well, because the card represents introspection. So here we are kind of looking back at how far we've come. So this card involves investigation and reflection. So really looking back to see like what all has changed, you know, and just taking in that spiritual essence of all of that, and always be sure to remain positive. I think that everybody is unique in their own ways, and I think we all process change differently. But here we are in card number 8, which means achievement, rebirth, perfection, and action. Once you have found that alignment and harmony, and once you have reflected on that and accepted it, then you've kind of rebirthed. You know, you have perfected something, you have seen something come to fruition, and here we are on the way to achievement, or we've already achieved this acceptance, and then here we are in the action phase after being rebirthed. It's time to go all in. So card number 9, attainment, nearing completion, abundance, and idealism. This card reflects nearing completion, a full cycle, almost achievement. We are abundant in what we've gathered on our trek up the hill from Ace to 7. And then finally, card number 8 was that rebirthed being. It's kind of interesting because before this reading, I pulled the strength card. Everybody has a significant amount of strength, and that's just something to always, you know, keep on hand. So with the card number 9, you know, we're almost nearing completion. we have acquired this abundance on the way, and we have most likely developed an idealism on, what we want to achieve, whether it be a personal goal or just really understanding like where you are at in your own life cycle within these different stages as the tarot card message is being shared. So sometimes during the cards, you'll get multiple different numbers, and there is a story to be told with that. And then finally, card number 10, completion, fulfillment, success, and full circle. 10 is that final output, that final completion, that success, that full circle understanding or explanation of the entire story, whether it be you, whether it be something that you want to know, whether it be a message to be shared. It's a framework that could be interpreted as you're reading the cards, but also receiving the message and understanding how to interpret it in your own mind. Everybody processes it different, but that is the explanation of the numbers, which is called the numerology of the Minor Arcana. So the Minor Arcana are the cards that are not the Major Arcana, and the Minor Arcana consist of the remainder of the deck. All of the suit cards, including the court cards, they generally concern mundane matters in the course of one's life, from the ace to 10, aspects of the self or literal people in one's life, which is the court cards. The court cards are wands, pentacles, knights, the court cards are wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. They're also called suits. And each suit has an element. So the wands is fire, the cups is water, swords is air, and pentacles is earth. Each of the suits in a tarot deck, wands, cups, swords, and pentacles, corresponds with an element in its overarching themes, so some knowledge of the elements and what they represent can be a helpful shortcut to understanding a large group of cards. I'll most likely be putting out another video that explains in depth what each card represents, which is wands, cups, swords, and pentacles. But for starters, the wands card means willpower, creativity, passion, inspiration, and energy. And then cups is emotions, intuition, instincts, relationships, and love. Swords is ideas, thoughts, communications, and conflict. And pentacles is material world, nature, resources, finances, and health. And when you're drawing these cards, you are most likely going to get a suit with it, or a court with it, which is pages, or princess is what it's called, knights, queens, and kings. So the court cards are based on universal archetypes whose reflections we can see within the family unit. We can further categorize these roles into different polarities in an associated action and event. Though we use terminology associated with gender, the rules here are gender fluid. So just to check in with how far we've come so far in explaining kind of the bare basics of tarot, we've looked at cards ace through 10, which explains kind of that path through one's journey from beginnings to a completion. And then we've also looked at the suits and their elements, which is the 4 different cards: wands, pentacles, cups, and swords. And then the court cards are the 4 different types of archetypes: pages, or princess they call it, knights, queens, and kings. The kings is a court card representing fathers, and there are 3 different elements to each of these court cards. So the kings has focus, events, and action, as well as all the other cards. The focus of kings or fathers is external. The events is authority, and the actions is control. The queens is a card representing mothers, and the focus is internal. The events is creativity, and the actions is develop. And then the Knights card represents adolescence. Focus is external, movements is the events, and then actions is act. And then Pages or princess means children. Focus is internal, events is messages, and actions is learn. And as you can see from just the dynamic of those 4 cards, it represents kind of like a family, because every member within a, by default, 4-person family, mother, father, a teenager, and a kid, is the different kind of roles within each card or suit. So when a king card, like King of Pentacles, is pulled, what that means is, the fatherly figure of that suit. So for example, the King of Pentacles means sensible, fair, honest, patient, generous, practical, traditional, stable, humble, and self-reliant. The King of Pentacles is an honest, generous leader who has worked hard and achieved great success. He upholds his duties and traditions and respects his ancestral heritage. The king finds practical solutions to problems and dislikes experimenting with new methods and technologies, preferring the old way of doing things. The king is kind but has high expectations of others and expects them to have the same self-discipline and work ethic that he has. He is humble and self-reliant. This card can represent a mature man who displays these qualities, or can indicate the need to recognize them in ourselves. So, as we saw, the last message was, this can also indicate the need to recognize this within ourselves. So each card can represent a by default stage explanation, but then you can also interpret it in a way that can be reflected in another way. So like it says, recognize this in yourself. It doesn't mean like this is like father figure. It means it's kind of a role in the card and explaining what it means, if that makes any sense. But that is kind of the basics of the 3 different things that we looked at. So we looked at the court cards, which is pages, knights, queens, and kings. We looked at the numerology of the Minor Arcana, which is cards number ace through 10. And we looked at the suits and their elements, which is wands, swords, cups, and pentacles. I really hope that this video provided kind of a summarization of the basics of interpreting the faces of the cards. And I really hope that you guys stick around and watch the rest of my videos. I'll be releasing a series, most likely, to share how to interpret the cards and teach tarot yourself. So with that, I just wanted to say thank you again, and make sure you hit subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Bye for now.